Every few weeks, a new AI model tops the leaderboard, and I watch smart people do the exact same thing. They rip a working model out of a live automation and drop the shiny new one in. Same afternoon. No testing. And here's the scary part. Nothing crashes. The workflow keeps running, the outputs still look fine at a glance, and something quietly breaks underneath, right where you're not looking. Today I'm dissecting the single most common automation mistake of the AI era, chasing every new release and swapping it straight into production. I'll show you the exact moment the temptation hits, how the damage installs itself without a single error message, why you won't notice for weeks, and the 5-step fix that lets you actually adopt new models without torching what already works. And to be clear, this isn't ignore new models. The new stuff is genuinely impressive. This is about the difference between upgrading on purpose and gambling by reflex. If you run any AI inside your workflow, this one's going to sting a little. Part 1. The temptation. Part 1. The temptation. Picture the scene. You're scrolling, and a headline hits. A new model just topped the leaderboard. According to Google's official Gemini blog in 2025, Gemini 3 Pro reached the top of Ella Marina with a score of 1501 yellow. Numbers like that feel less like news and more like a command. Upgrade now. Your current model suddenly feels old, slow, a little embarrassing. And you've got this automation quietly running on last season's model, so the itch starts. Just swap it. It's one drop down. 30 seconds. Here's the trap hiding inside that itch. A leaderboard measures how a model performs on somebody else's tests, ranked by strangers voting on general chat. It does not measure how it behaves inside your specific workflow with your prompts, your data, your downstream steps. The temptation dresses up a gamble as an obvious win. That number is real, and it's still not about you. Try this week. Next time a release excites you, write down one sentence. What exactly in my workflow is failing that this fixes? If you can't answer it, you're not upgrading. You're chasing. Part 2. How the swap sneaks in. Part 2. How the mistake installs itself. It's almost too easy, and that's the whole problem. In most tools, switching models is a single drop-down. You pick the new name, you hit save, and the automation keeps running like nothing happened. No warning. No, are you sure? No forced retest. But here's what that drop-down quietly hides. Your prompts were tuned to the old model. Every instruction, every example, respond only in JSON, no extra text. You shaped those over weeks to match how one specific model behaves. A new model is a new personality. It reads your wording differently, it formats differently, it's chatty where the old one was terse. Same prompt, different brain. So the swap doesn't fail loudly because technically nothing is broken. The model responds, the flow completes, green lights everywhere. The mismatch just sits there, invisible, waiting. Imagine renovating a house and swapping every lock, then being surprised none of your old keys turn. That's a model swap with the prompts left untouched. Try this week. Before you swap anything, copy your exact prompt and run it side by side, old model versus new, on one real example. Watch where they disagree. Part 3. The first symptom. Part 3. The first symptom. It never looks like a failure. It looks like a little wrongness. The new model was doing great on paper. For context, DeepSeek's official API docs in 2026 list DeepSeek V4 Pro scoring 80.6% on SWE Bench Verified, which is genuinely strong. But strong on a coding benchmark is not the same as obedient inside your flow. So the first symptom is drift. Your summaries get a touch longer. The model starts adding a friendly intro line. Sure. Here's your summary. Right where your next step expected raw text. A field that used to come back as true now comes back as yes, that's correct. Tiny things. Individually harmless. And because the output still looks like an output, you skim it, nod, and move on. That's the cruelty of this symptom. It passes the eye test. A crash would save you. A crash is honest. Drift just smiles and hands you slightly wrong data with total confidence. Try this week. Pull up the last 10 outputs from any AI step and read them like an editor, not an owner, hunting for the extra sentence, the changed format, the polite little intro that wasn't there before. Part 4. The damage spreads. Part 4. The damage spreads. Remember that friendly intro line, the new model started adding? Now follow it downstream. Your AI step feeds a parser, and the parser expected clean JSON. It gets sure. Here's your summary. Bolted onto the front and it chokes, or worse, it doesn't choke, it just grabs the wrong chunk and passes garbage forward. One small change of behavior at the top, and every step after it inherits the mess. Say your flow tags support emails, then routes them, then drafts replies. The swap makes the tags slightly vaguer. Routing sends a few to the wrong queue. The reply drafts answer the wrong question. No single step failed. Each one did exactly what it was told with slightly poisoned input. That's how a 30-second drop-down change becomes a week of weird, hard-to-trace problems that all feel unrelated to each other. The rot always travels downhill. Try this week. For your most important automation, draw the chain on paper, the model, then every step it feeds. Circle the first step that assumes a fixed format. That circle is exactly where a model swap will bite you first, and it's the first place to add a guard. Part 5. Why nobody notices. Part 5. Why nobody notices for weeks. 2 reasons and they stack. First, you trusted the leaderboard, so your guard is down. The model won. So when something feels slightly off, you blame yourself. The data, the phase of the moon, anything but the shiny new model you were told is better. Second, and this is the big one, the leaderboard measured a different job than yours. A high yellow score means humans preferred that model's answers in open-ended chat. A high SWE bench score means it's good at fixing coding problems. Neither one tested follows my exact formatting instructions inside a 5-step pipeline for months without drifting. Nobody benchmarks obedience on your task because your task is yours. So the model can be genuinely, provably better in general and quietly worse for you at the same time with no contradiction at all. That gap between better on average and better for my workflow is exactly where the weeks disappear. Try this week. Write one plain sentence describing what your automation actually needs the model to do. Return only a category word, nothing else. That sentence is your real benchmark. No leaderboard on Earth is testing it, so you have to. Part 6. The blast radius. Part 6. The blast radius. Sometimes the swap doesn't just bend your outputs, it quietly changes the physics of your whole flow. Bigger, fancier models are often heavier under the hood. For scale, MarkTech Post reported in August 2026 that Alibaba's Qwen 3.8 Max is a 2.4 trillion parameter model with 95 billion active parameters per token. That's a lot of machine moving behind one API call. In practice, that can mean more cost per run, slower responses, and tighter rate limits, none of which show up as an error message. Here's a hypothetical to make it concrete. Say your automation runs 2,000 times a day, and it used to answer in 1 second. Swap in a heavier model and each call now takes 3. Suddenly your flow can't keep up with the queue, jobs pile up, and a couple of downstream steps start timing out at random. Or the bill just quietly triples, and you find out on the invoice at month's end. Nothing crashed. The machine just got heavier and slower while you weren't watching. Try this week. After any swap, run it 20 times and watch 2 numbers, how long each call takes and whether you're bumping into limits. Speed is a feature you can lose silently. Part 7. The fix begins. Part 7. The fix begins. Rule 1. Pin your model version and stop letting it float. A lot of setups point at a moving label like latest or a family name that silently updates underneath you. That means the model can change without you touching a thing. You didn't even get the 30-second drop down. The ground just shifted while you slept. So go into every important automation and pin the exact, specific version string the provider gives you. Now upgrades happen when you decide, not when a release ships. This one change turns my automation randomly got weird last Tuesday into nothing changes unless I change it. It's the difference between standing on solid ground and standing on a treadmill. Think of it like locking a recipe. You don't want the flour secretly swapped between batches and your bread turning out different for no reason. Try this today. It's 10 minutes. Open your automations, find every place a model is chosen, and check whether it's pinned to a version or floating on latest. Pin the floating ones. You'll sleep better tonight, and you'll have taken back the single most important decision in this whole game when your model actually changes. Part 8. Fix 2, and the thing that catches drift before your customers do. Part 8. Fix 2. Build a tiny golden set before you ever swap. This is the highest leverage habit in this whole video, so stay with me. Collect 10 to 20 real inputs from your actual workflow, real emails, real documents, whatever your flow choose on. For each one, write down the output you'd consider correct. That little collection is your golden set, and it's worth more than any leaderboard because it tests your job, not the internet's. Now swapping models stops being a gamble. New release drops. You're tempted? Run your golden set through it and read the results next to your known good answers. Did the format hold? Did it stay concise? Did it still return only the category word? In 20 minutes, you'll know more about that model for your task than 1,000 benchmark tweets could tell you. Picture a support team. I'll keep it hypothetical, that caught a swap turning clean one-word tags into full sentences before it hit a single customer, purely because they ran 20 saved examples first. Try this week. Start the set with just 5 examples. 5 is enough to catch the ugliest drift, and you can always grow it. Part 9. Fix 3. Part 9. Fix 3. Shadow test the new model before you trust it with real work. The golden set from Part 8 is your quick pre-flight check. Shadow testing is the full dress rehearsal. Instead of ripping out the old model, you run the new one right alongside it. Same real inputs, live traffic, but you don't act on the new one's output yet. You just log it next to the old one and compare. For a week, the old model still does the actual job. The new model is auditioning in the background where it can't hurt anyone. Then you read the 2 columns side by side on real traffic, not cherry-picked examples. Genuinely better? Promoted on purpose. Worse in some sneaky, specific way? You caught it with 0 blast radius, and you learned exactly how it fails. This is how careful teams upgrade anything risky. Let the new thing prove itself, while the old thing keeps the lights on. Try this week. Pick one automation and add a parallel branch that just calls a second model and writes both answers to a sheet. Don't change the real output at all yet. Let it run. Read it Friday. Part 10. Fix 4. Part 10. Fix 4. Put all your model choices in one single place. Right now, for a lot of people, the model name is copy-pasted into 8 different automations. So switching means hunting down 8 spots, and you'll miss 2, and now half your flows are on one model and half on another, and you can't even remember which is which. Instead, define the model once, in a single config field, a single variable, one row in a settings sheet, and have every automation read from that one place. Change it once, everything follows. Miss nothing. This is boring, and it is a superpower. It means you can roll a whole system forward or backward in one edit, and it means the answer to wait, which model is this flow on, is always the same. Check the one place. When something goes wrong, you want a single steering wheel, not 8 scattered dials you have to find first. Try this week. Pick the 2 or 3 automations that share a model and pull that model name out into one shared setting they all point to. Small refactor. Huge payoff the next time you want to test a swap. Part 11. Fix 5. The habit that ties it all together. Part 11. Fix 5. Adopt on a schedule, not on a headline. The releases will never stop. There is always a new model topping some chart this week, and if your trigger to upgrade is "I saw a tweet," you'll live on that treadmill forever. So flip it. Pick a cadence, once a month, once a quarter, whatever fits, and that's when you evaluate new models calmly with the tools you just built. Run the golden set. Shadow test the finalist. Flip the one config field if it wins. Outside that window, exciting releases go on a list, not into production. You're not ignoring progress. You're batching it on your terms when you actually have the focus to do it right. The reflex swap is how automations rot. The scheduled review is how they get better without drama. Try this week. Put a recurring model review block on your calendar, 30 minutes, once a month. That single calendar entry converts a nervous habit into a deliberate process. It's the automation that governs all your other automations, the meta habit that keeps every fix in this video actually running instead of forgotten. Part 12. What all of this adds up to. Part 12. The after picture. Same you, same love of shiny new models, but now the machinery underneath is completely different. Your models are pinned, so nothing changes without your say-so. You've got a golden set, so every swap gets tested against your real job in 20 minutes. New models shadow run in the background before they ever touch real work. Every model choice lives in one place, so you move as a single system. And you review on a schedule instead of lurching at every headline. Now watch what happens when the next big release drops and the leaderboard explodes with new numbers. You don't panic. You don't rip anything out. You add it to the list, and on review day, you let it earn its spot against examples that actually matter to you. You get all the upside of new models, and the real gains are real, with none of the silent rot. That's the whole difference between someone who chases AI and someone who compounds it. The chaser rebuilds every month and wonders why nothing feels stable. You upgrade on purpose, and your automations just keep getting quietly better in the background. Let's lock in how to remember all of this. So here's the real lesson, and it fits on a sticky note. A leaderboard measures a model, but only you can measure it for your job. New releases are opportunities, not orders. Before you swap anything, run the mental checklist. Is my model pinned? Do I have a golden set of real examples? Did I shadow test the new one on live traffic? Does the model choice live in one single place? And am I doing this on a schedule instead of on impulse? Nail those 5 and you capture every bit of the AI wave's upside without letting your working automations quietly rot underneath you. And remember, none of this is about fearing new models. The gains are real and you should absolutely use them. It's about upgrading on purpose instead of gambling by reflex. If you want AI tools explained exactly like this, with the failure modes included and not just the hype, subscribe, because that is the entire channel. And I genuinely want to know. So tell me in the comments, what's a new model you swapped in on pure excitement that quietly made something worse? Or the flip side, what's one automation you've deliberately kept on an old model because it just works? Drop it below. I read them.